this empty town. We're searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. Don't stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me, hold your hand while the pain was over, keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. We're searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. Don't stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the
All right, what's good, Insane Gamers? As always, it's your boy Yo Soy AC Weezy, joined with the man Goddamn T Hayes from a new remote location. As you can see, looks a little more professional in the background. I see like a gold thumb. Is that a cactus, maybe? Some kind of plantation. He's trying to,
No, it is a cactus.
Cactus gang. You know, we got the plant in the background.
Still getting used to my new set, so can't explain here.
No, it looks good. I like the lighting in it and everything. It looks like it has some good feng shui going on, if you will. How's your mood going on overall? Good?
I'm very zen right now.
Nice. Namaste. Welcome, everybody, checking in. This is another installation of the No Look podcast. Arguably the best podcast on Insane Games TV, but...
It's critically acclaimed now, by the way.
You want to tell the viewers about that, or what?
I mean, another day, another dollar, another newspaper says holla. We're in the Post-Star this week, front page of the business section. Now, not necessarily our show, but the stream as a whole, Insane Games TV, was featured in the Post-Star this week, which was cool, very sweet. Front page of the business section, go check it out. Drop the 75 cents in the little machine and pull out the paper.
Nah, man, that's dope. Honestly, you know, obviously you and I know we've been putting in some work, grinding for a little bit, and you know everyone else at the Insane Games TV, you know, podcasts, streams going up. We got 7 days a week. We got people working on something, whether it's a podcast, a stream. We've hosted tournaments here live at the Insane Games store inside Wilton Mall, so we're getting a little bit of recognition, which is good. You know, some people kind of giving us the clout we deserve, if you will. But other than that, we've been having fun with it. You know, I personally enjoy hanging out with my guy T. We get to talk a little sports, a little media, stuff that's going on in today's world, and we get to engage with you, the viewers, which is always a good time. So make sure you're popping off and chat about that. You know, we love engaging with people, getting the whole community involved. That's what we're here for. Provide content, but also to try to, you know, communicate and get to know you guys a little better. You know, with that being said, I think T has some stuff lined up for us. Get into maybe a little NBA talk. Is that what I was hearing?
Yeah, I mean, big week in the NBA this week. We had the trade deadline. Actually, I was wrong last week on the podcast. I thought they pushed it out a little bit, but last Thursday was the trade deadline. 3:00 p.m. I think it was Eastern Standard Time. It doesn't really matter, but a lot of trades happen, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts in the NBA. This is honestly my favorite time of year in the NBA, when All-Star Weekend's about to hit, because it's fast lane to the NBA playoffs, which I think is when everybody starts focusing on it and they start, you know, paying more attention, because the NFL is over. You don't have the Super Bowl to worry about anymore. Now everything is full steam ahead for the NBA. Some of the big trades that happened, we had Andre Iguodala get traded from Memphis. He went to the Heat, which is a great trade, honestly, for the Heat. I watched the first game of Andre Iguodala coming back into the NBA after having a 6-month hiatus, or however how long it was. And first play of the game, he stole the ball. He's already becoming a playmaker for the Heat. Probably going to help them solidify themselves into the playoffs, I think, in the Eastern Conference. What was your thought on this trade?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great trade. You know, I've been a fan of the Heat. I like all the players they got going on there. They got Jimmy Butler, who I feel like has been underrated in this league for a while now, and he's kind of their staple guy in the middle. They got Bam Adebayo, Justice Winslow, a bunch of good rotation guys.
Winslow got traded.
He got traded?
Yeah, he was part of the trade for Iggy.
God. Well, now, why are you giving away all your youth for an old Iguodala that's had all his years spent? I was just about to praise him for this trade, but with that being said, jeez, I don't know. I mean, Iguodala, obviously, he's proven himself as a prolific scorer, you know, a good support guy, 6th man off the bench. You saw him in those few title runs with the Golden State Warriors. I wasn't aware that Justice was traded. I was a fan of him. I know he's kind of been up and down over these years. We'll see what happens with him. I feel like he could be maybe a Brandon Ingram type guy. Wasn't in the right situation, so maybe now he can flourish. But yeah, I mean, I guess I still am a fan of the trade, because the Heat, they're in the playoffs right now. They're making a playoff push. They kind of need maybe one more veteran guy in that locker room. So overall, still a fan. Not a huge fan of the aspect of them getting rid of Justice Winslow, but yeah, not too bad overall.
I mean, they added Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder.
All right. I mean, they got
I think is going to help their team.
Derek Jones,
Defensively,
Tyler
they
Hero.
have all the offensive weapons.
Yeah, they have a good offensive core there. Like I just said, I don't know if I was talking while you were talking. I said, yeah, Tyler Hero, he's a young guy. Kendrick Nunn, a guy that I've followed since his days at Simeon, 4-time high school state championship winner. He was at Illinois for a little bit. I believe he transferred to Oakland. And, undrafted guy, technically a rookie. I think he played in the G League last year. But, he's in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. And that's just one of those guys you'd love to have on your team. He's got a little chip on his shoulder. Not talking Frito-Lays, but you know what I'm talking about, T. He's hungry. He's ready to go.
Doritos Cool Ranch Dan. Hashtag.
Cool. Who eats Cool Ranch? He eats Cool Ranch over Nacho?
Me. I eat nacho cheese, baby.
Dan. God damn it. All right. But yeah, no, not a bad trade overall. What else we got cooking up?
D'Angelo Russell, one of my personal favorite players in the NBA, got traded to the Wolves. In parentheses, I put called it because I did call it on the last episode that he was going to get traded to the Wolves. I had a little Woj bomb, as most of them would say in the business. But he got traded for Andrew Wiggins. So Wiggins is going to the Warriors, which I think is pretty interesting, honestly. It adds a very strange dynamic that the Warriors really don't have or have had in a high-flying superstar. Wiggins can shoot the ball a little bit, but he's more of the above-the-rim kind of guy. He's a good motor, I guess you could say. But D'Lo, kind of looks like a rental for the Warriors. I was excited to see how he was going to play with the Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Didn't really work out with injuries and everything, but now he's playing with his best friend, Anthony Towns. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how those two with their dynamic is going to work out. So, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, you look at Wiggins, you kind of almost feel as he's a poor man's Kevin Durant, like you said. So we'll see how he can fit in with that system once Klay and Steph are fully healthy, how that team can prosper. Like I said, you see a lot of guys, Brandon Ingram I mentioned earlier, if maybe it wasn't the right fit for him where they still have talent. Wiggins, he's kind of been up and down for a while. He's shown flashes of potential. I think he had, a 40, 50-point game at one point. He can score the ball. He's a, freak athlete. And I think he can, find himself in a good situation there in Golden State. Whereas on the other side, like you mentioned, D'Angelo, Karl Anthony Towns, those guys have been friends. Maybe they got a little bit of chemistry there going on. So I'm excited to see what that young duo can do. And, this year, maybe not going to happen for them. I believe, are they last in the West standings?
They're like second to last or third to last. They're bottom feeders in the West.
Yeah, but they're still young, those guys. They have time to grow. Maybe bring in another veteran-type guy in the locker room to kind of mold them into some stars. But, yeah, we'll see what happens in the years to come. D'Lo is tough. I've always liked D'Lo. I have a weird infatuation with lefty shooters. D'Lo, Harden, a few other guys over the years. I think he is smart with the ball. He's matured. Michael Redd. Yeah, all those guys. I just feel like for some reason lefties just have such a fluent stroke where you see righties, you got the Ray Allen, Durant, Steph Curry. Everybody's got different.
It's just so rare.
Yeah. Something about the symmetrics of it. Is symmetrics a word? Symmetrical. It looks fluent.
Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. But you rarely see a lefty with an awkward looking shot. I'd say Ben Simmons is probably the only exception. With that being said, what's that? Yeah, and he can't shoot.
He can't shoot.
He did make 8 in a row in warm-ups the other day. Don't know what that's supposed to mean. Obviously, they don't count until you get into the real game. But yeah, I think that was a positive trade for both teams. Did you say that? You agree for that?
How much is this?
Yeah. I'm excited. I think the biggest one I'm excited for is I really want D'Angelo Russell, and I knew I really wanted him to do this with the Nets because they're obviously my favorite team. But I really want him to grow into that playmaker superstar that I know he has the potential to be. He's one of those guys that he wants to take the last shot. He wants to be the guy that's scoring all the points. He wants to be the guy that facilitates the offense. I think he can do that with the Timberwolves, with having Karl Anthony Towns as his big man, kind of like a nice duo between a center and a point guard that, isn't very popular nowadays. Everybody's trying to play small ball, but I'm really excited to see what they do. Obviously, like we said, not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
Give the guys summer to get chemistry down, to really add some bolsters, to their offense. Maybe a 3-point shooter to help out, someone on defense to help out as well too. So I think the Wolves are an exciting team in the future. If they draft well and they get good guys in free agency, that's one of those teams that you got to watch out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that talk and speculation, like if you could start a franchise with any young player today, who would it be? A lot of people probably, and rightfully so, choose Ja Morant, who's been playing well in his first year. But at the same time, or Zion, correct? And at the same time, though, you look at a guy like D'Angelo Russell, he's only 23 years old. You pair him up with Karl Anthony Towns, who's 24, that could be a nice duo for years to come. You get a couple supporting pieces around those two focal guys, and I could see them being like a Luka Doncic and a Kristaps Porzingis type duo, which is kind of scary for the West future. And it seems like the West is still going to be the more competitive and better off division compared to the East. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, speaking of the East, Andre Drummond to the Cavs, really didn't understand this trade at all. It's one of those trades that you look and you say, well, the NBA is a business. Because I feel like in this point, he's done so much for the Pistons. Where's the loyalty? I mean, Andre Drummond, he's been the guy in Detroit. He still has so many years left ahead of him. I mean, he's only like 25. He's still really, really young. He's one of the Pistons' all-time leading scorers. It just doesn't make sense to me why you would let go of someone like this. It seems like the Pistons are just giving up. Maybe trying to rebuild, trying to find their John Morant, I guess you could say. But to me, it doesn't make sense. I know to you, you're a UConn guy, so this is your boy. I really don't understand. I know you're probably feeling the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like you said, I'm a big UConn fan. For me, as far as my favorite sport teams go, it's Packers clear in the front, and then UConn is a clear second. I root for the Yankees, Knicks, and New York Rangers. Not as big of a diehard for those fans. But yeah, Packers and UConn men's basketball are my two favorite teams. So more so than anything, I follow the guys who go in the NBA. Andre Drummond, Rudy Gay, Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lamb, I think he's on the Pacers now. Ben Gordon back in the day, a lot of those guys. But like you said, Emeka Okafor, Hasheem Thabeet for his short stint with the Thunder back in the day. I don't know what he's up to now. But hey, Shabazz, he's on the Nets now, right? No. He just got traded to the Wizards.
Oh, okay.
Wizards. Sorry for tapping. I know it picks up on the mic. But yeah, no, I don't understand this. Like you said, Drummond, he's a young guy. He's been putting up good minutes. I mean, I get wanting to rebuild, but at the same time, he was really the only focal point of that team. You brought in Blake Griffin. You brought in Derrick Rose. That didn't really work out too well. I just don't understand the logic behind, oh, hey, maybe Drummond's the guy that's not working out. Whereas I don't know how many people average, for a month span.
2020.
The guy was averaging like 10 and 10 for how long? He's got multiple 20-point, 20 rebound games.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the guys every single year besides DeAndre Jordan that easily puts up 15 rebounds on average in a season, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
And he puts up usually about 20-15. Like, that's his typical average. You got a guy that's that productive, that's a blessing.
Right.
Why are you getting rid of someone that's that good? And you want to add Blake Griffin. Yeah, it didn't work out this season because of injury. That's not Blake Griffin's fault. You take this year, you let Blake Griffin get better, you let Andre Drummond still compete, you bring in a guy that's going to be also a playmaker, you have yourself a squad, and especially in the East, that's so wide open. You could easily be the lead guy in the Eastern Central, because that division is not that great. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Trading him to the Cavs, they face them 4 times a year. It doesn't help either team at this point because they're both out of the playoffs. So It's like a lose-lose.
So like you said earlier, Drummond, he's only 26 years old. He's not that old of a player. With that being said, he did come into the league when he was 18. This is now his 9th season in the NBA. Do you believe there's any kind of fall off in the near future for him? He's still young, but he's had, maybe a few extra years for that body to a little bit of wear and tear. Is that any type of concern, you think?
I feel like I definitely see what you're saying because of the miles. I feel like with centers, they generally fall off at 31. That's like the usual age, 31, 32. They just get slower and they're not as strong as they were and they don't have the same footwork. But I feel like for him, that's still like 5 to 6 years. You could still get yourself a good team together with him, Blake Griffin, add a point guard, add someone that's, a good shooter. Like we were saying with the Wolves. I mean, they had the pieces. They just were plagued with injuries this season. So it's not really Drummond's fault. I love Andre Drummond. I think he's a great player. I love how he's always very consistent with rebounds and points. I wish he went to a better team because he's going to do the same thing on the Cavs. He's going to be on a bottom-feeding team, putting up great numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I thought that duo, the Twin Towers, if you will, with him and Blake Griffin was a good combo. Derrick Rose, he was playing all right for him, but he's definitely getting older. I don't know if he's that main guy you want running the point or with the ball in his hands a lot of times.
Yeah.
Maybe, just thinking about it, back last week when we were talking about potential trades, you were talking about Kuzma maybe getting out of L.A., and I heard there was interest from L.A. for Derrick Rose. I feel like that would have been a pretty good trade on both teams' parts. Maybe if you could have had a Kuzma for D Rose type deal. Kuzma's a little younger, nice wing player to complement Drummond and Griffin on the inside.
Yeah, I mean the Lakers could have got some draft picks out of that too, because obviously Kuzma being younger than Derrick Rose and whatnot. I think that would have been like a win-win situation for the both of them. A change in scenery in the NBA is usually pretty good for both parties, meaning both players. Because most of the time it's situations that the player just needs to get out of there and the team needs, a fresh new face. For this one, though, I just feel like it doesn't make sense. And you kind of feel for Andre Drummond.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yep. Especially being a UConn fan. And, I've seen nothing bad from him off the court. He just seems like an exemplary guy, human being in general. But is that the...
Actually, I saw him play one time in an AAU tournament when I was in Connecticut, and he was like, he's 2 years older than me. So I was in 8th grade, so he must have been in 10th grade. I remember seeing him warm up, and he was like throwing like between the legs dunks and warm ups. It was unreal. I knew he was going to be good when he was doing that shit.
Yeah, no, that guy was crazy. I remember you telling me that. I think you tried to take a picture or something. You're like, yo, Drummond, he's going to UConn. This is your boy.
Yeah. But I don't think that was me. I think that was Shane. But I was at that tournament with him. So.
Oh yeah. I know. I remember hearing that story. I was like, I thought it was Shane, but I was gonna let you roll with it. So just trying to be a good friend here.
I would have taken credit for it.
All right. Well, I was giving you credit, so you didn't take it. But anyways, what do we got? What do we got next?
The last big trade, anyways, of last week was Marcus Morris to the Clippers. Another good trade, I think, for the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers won on this. I mean, the Knicks just needed to get rid of him. Put him on a team that was really good. He's going to be an added bonus to the Clippers. Maybe even help them, compete against the Lakers in a Western Conference Final or the Rockets or whatever the case may be. He's just a tough, badass player. You just don't want to go up against basically tough guys to go on defense. But what was your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always liked Marcus Morris. I thought he's been a consistent, very good player, can put up points off the bench when you need him. The only concern I have with this is, like you said, he is a badass type of player. He's got a very loud personality. He's outspoken. I feel like the Clippers, a lot of those guys, Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Will, they're kind of soft-spoken. They move silently. I feel like they have some good cohesion in that locker room. I don't know if he would come along and maybe disrupt that. As far as performance aspect, I don't think he'll have any problems there. He'll come off the bench. He'll give him some good minutes, free up maybe Paul George and Kawhi a little bit. But, yeah, that'd be my only concern is how he fits in that whole locker room dynamic with the personalities.
He already almost got into a fight with Joel Embiid last night against the Sixers. So,
yeah,
he's definitely he's like Ben Wallace. He's like one of those guys on defense where you don't want to mess with, but he's always in the middle of it. He's always going to be the guy that's going to take a shot at the other team. But sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I guess we'll see. I think it definitely helps the Clippers though as a whole for sure to help them push to the playoffs because Morris has been on some teams, especially the Celtics, where they've made some playoff pushes. So.
Yeah. Nope. We'll wait and see. So that's all we got for the trade wise, right?
Yeah, still hitting in on the NBA. We got the All-Star game coming up.
Yep.
You have the teams pulled up. I texted Austin the other day. I was like, bro, you need to look at this team. It's like Giannis was high as shit when he was picking his team, or just LeBron played mind control over him because I think LeBron picked a way better team than Giannis, and you can go over who's on what team, but it's just I think very heavy-sided, lopsided team picking on LeBron James's part.
Yeah, Team LeBron is by far the better team. Just to go down the list, obviously LeBron James is the captain. The starters, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, and LeBron, as I aforementioned. And on the reserves, we have Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Nikola Jokic, Ben Simmons, Domantas Sabonis, Jason Tatum, and Russell Westbrook. Compared to Team Giannis Antetokounmpo, I can pronounce that correctly, so I'm going to say that every chance I get. Starting at the forward, we also have Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam, Kemba Walker, my guy UConn, Trae Young, and as far as the reserves go, we have Bam Adebayo, Brandon Ingram, who is my most improved player of the year, Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert, Kyle Lowry, and Chris Middleton. So, I'd say
you know what the
definitely.
Crazy thing about this, Austin, is?
What's that?
Giannis' team's probably going to end up winning.
Well, just looking at it.
Always works.
Yeah, just looking at it, you hear the names. Obviously, there's a lot more established players on Team LeBron, but at the same time, I'm looking at Team Giannis. They may not be as good, but they're a lot younger. They might be able to run up and down the court, put up a lot of numbers. Also, with the new All-Star Game scoring system, we'll see how that comes into factor. But as of right now, just off of sheer star power, I'd say Team LeBron has the upper hand. But we'll see. Like we were talking about, it is a spectacle. Obviously, all the players are fan-voted, which, for better or for worse, I'm not sure. There was a few snubs that we discussed last week. But overall, it should be good. That is the All-Star Game. There also are some other competitions going on. Friday night, we have the Celebrity Game, which Tyler wasn't too interested in until I mentioned Bad Bunny was participating in. We have some we have some other big names. I won't go down the whole list because it's not as big of an event. But with that being said, we have the Taco Bell's Skill Challenge, which is the first event on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The participants of that event, we have Bam Adebayo, Patrick Beverley, Spencer Dinwiddie, Chris Middleton, Derrick Rose, which I guess there's a star next to his name. He's injured. He won't participate. But we also have Domantas Sabonis, Pascal Siakam, Jason Tatum, and Shai, I'm going to butcher this, Gilgeous Alexander. Nope.
I thought you were talking about, okay, Gil Alexander, okay, from Virginia Tech, I got you.
No, yeah. Gilgeous, did I say that right? I apologize.
Yeah, close enough. There's a lot of freaking forwards and centers in that. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting one for the skills challenge. That's more so dribbling, passing. I guess there's a little bit of shooting, but more so,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a small man oriented drill. So we'll see. I feel like.
I mean, last year my boy Spencer Dinwiddie took it.
Did he?
Representing the Brooklyn Nets, of course. Who I'm gonna say is gonna win it again, or at least I hope he does. So I'm gonna go with him on that one for sure.
All right, I was gonna ask you your pick. I'm gonna go with a dark horse, like you just mentioned, and I agreed with you. This is more of a guard-oriented game. But with that being said, I feel like we're gonna get shown up and opposed to our predictions like usual. So I'm gonna have to go with Domantas Sabonis from the Indiana Pacers. I feel like
If I did have to pick a second one, I would do that Shy guy.
Shy,
the
yeah.
Clippers. I like the way he plays.
He's on the Thunder now. Yeah, I believe he got traded a little bit ago.
Wait, no, I think that's his brother that's on the Clippers. There's two of them, you know that, right?
Yeah, but I thought there was one on the Clippers. I gotta look it up now.
On the Clippers. The one on the Thunder. Never mind. I don't want to go with the Thunder guy. I wanted the Clippers guy.
Okay.
It's fine. I'll stick with Spencer Dinwiddie.
Sticking with him. All right, yeah, I'm gonna pick Sabonis. I'm just looking that up real quick. Does he have a brother? Nah. Well, no. Shy was on the Clippers, but then he was on the he's on the Thunder. Anyways, with that being
Maybe
said,
he's the same guy I'm thinking of. Well, he'll be my dark horse then.
okay, that's your second pick. You can only pick one, so it doesn't really count. He's just saying that to suck up, I guess. With that being said, the next contest, we got the Mountain Dew 3-point contest. The participants of this will be Davis Bertans, Devontae Graham, who's been lighting it up like crazy, Joe Harris, your boy from Brooklyn,
The best.
Buddy Hield, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, Duncan Robinson, and Trae Young. I mean, that's a pretty good field right there as far as shooters go.
You know who I'm going with, obviously.
Yep, you're gonna go with your boy. We're Brooklyn at Joe Harris. I saw that coming.
Baby.
I don't even know who this Davis Bertans guy is from Washington. He looks like a forward, maybe even a center. That was probably
I
like.
think he is. Pretty sure he is.
That was probably like, all right, we gotta get some diversity in here. Put a white center just to make it look like we're trying. But
Probably from Indiana too.
Indiana, I was thinking Iowa, but we're on the same wavelength with that one.
Same thing, yeah. Midwest.
Some kind of Midwest team. I don't know. There's a lot of good shooters here, man. I feel like Trae Young's probably the favorite, right? If I had to say.
Yeah, I would. No.
I don't like picking favorites. I'm in between a couple guys.
Just go with Burton. That's your boy.
Burton's? No, I can't do that.
You already picked one white guy to win the skills challenge. You might as well pick another white guy.
No. He's not gonna hit one money ball all night. He's gonna end with single-digit points. I'm gonna go with Devontae Graham. Honestly, I feel like he's coming in with the hot hands. Another guy, chip on his shoulder, not afraid of the big stage, the bright lights. So that is my pick, Devontae Graham. Charlotte Hornets. Third event coming up, which typically is the most talked about event, the most anticipated event, the slam dunk competition. In years past, honestly, I've almost more so enjoyed the 3-point competition. But we got Dwight Howard is coming back. Maybe that'll spark some more interest. And also Aaron Gordon is making another appearance. Following with them, we have Pat Connaughton from the Bucks and Derrick Jones Jr., who can absolutely jump out of the gym.
That Pat Connaughton one just doesn't make sense to me. I thought it was a typo when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy, I thought he barely could dunk. I thought he was like a rim grazer.
He's got sneaky hops, actually. You see him in some games. I mean, I've seen him do some Showtime dunks, windmills, and I don't know if he's done between the legs, but a 360 in game before. You know, he is a consummate athlete. You know, he was almost could have gone to the MLB. He chose the NBA. I believe he was a pitcher, right? Was he Oregon State? Maybe I'm getting that wrong, but I know he was, talked about potentially
He
going
went to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, that's right. I know he played baseball and he had the choice to go MLB or NBA, much like Kyler Murray did between the MLB and the NFL. I'll let you go first. Who do you like out of this bunch?
This one's an easy one for me. I'm gonna go DJJ.
Yeah.
I think he's just like the best dunker in the NBA right now. Besides Zion, but Zion's not gonna partake in this competition. His hops are just unreal, and I just think he's gonna have the most, because he does it in warm-ups all the time. He just has the most unreal dunks. I think it's an easy wash for me. I think Aaron Gordon's gonna put up a good fight, but I'm gonna go with DJJ on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. He's definitely the best in-game dunker. Probably has the most hops, highest vertical out of all these guys. I'm going to have to go with Aaron Gordon. His second time in this competition. Some people thought he got snubbed in his first appearance against Zach LaVine. But with all that being said, that dunk contest was probably one of the best, if not the best dunk contest in the past 10, 15, 20 years maybe. Probably going back to the Vince Carter days. That was...
Yeah.
Awesome. For me, this may not translate to how the judges are thinking or how it's scored, but I like creativity. Derek Jones, he can probably, like I said, do the Dwight Howard dunking on a 12-foot hoop or from the free throw line. I just saw Aaron Jones' creativity. He had the mascot out on the hoverboard. He did underneath the legs, which is something you almost never see. So I have a feeling he's going to come ready to play this time, and he's going to have something interesting for us to watch. Hopefully, it should be good. Like you and I alike, a couple single guys, not looking forward to Valentine's Day, but we are looking forward to NBA All-Star Weekend, which should be a good time.
All-Star Weekend's one of my favorite weekends of the year. The showcase of all the best basketball players in the world, and I always find the competitions to be very fun. And I'm excited, extremely excited for the dunk contest, but I'm always excited for the 3-point contest because your man goddamn cannot dunk. So
No.
I was always a shooter.
Yeah, I mean, I could touch rim when I was in 8th grade, and that was about when my growth spurt stopped, and I was never able to exceed that. I could dunk
It went downhill from there.
Listen, yeah, my knees were shot probably sophomore year. I could dunk a volleyball. My thing was I could never palm a basketball well enough. I could do the finger roll, rip down the rim, thinking I'm cool or whatnot. But with that being said, how I brought up the Valentine's Day, is that kind of like a sick, twisted like plot or scheme? Did someone do that on purpose? Like you hear of natural selection. Is this like relationship natural selection to see how many girls want to deal with their boyfriends watching NBA All-Star on Valentine's Day weekend? Is that? I mean, that's kind of like loaded.
Tough. I mean, I don't know. They have to deal with us playing Fortnite and video games all the time. So
yeah.
Now it's just another thing that's happening with the NBA All-Star Weekend. But it is what it is. Shooters gotta shoot. Ballers gotta play ball. So it is.
As they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. Ha. We are looking forward to NBA All-Star Weekend. Do we have anything else lined up on your special little list?
Actually, speaking of All-Star Weekend, this is where Tyler's 2 minutes comes into play.
Let's go.
Today, 20 years ago, your boy, Vince Carter, won the NBA dunk contest. And this is just Tyler's 2 minutes of praising Vince Carter. Huge Vince Carter fan over here. Probably the best in-game dunker. My favorite memory of Vince Carter was not only when he got traded to the Nets back in 2004 or 5, around that time, but also when in the NBA playoffs he dunked on Alonzo Mourning, cock back, boom, against the Heat. He was probably one of the best players I saw play for the Nets live, besides Jason Kidd. But this is just Tyler's 2 minutes of praising the career of Vince Carter, 20-plus years in the NBA, still playing his last year, less than 30 games left in the NBA season. I think it was 37 today, they said, to praise Vince Carter, because, obviously this is going to be his last year. So they're all doing, the goodbye tour for him. But Vince Carter, the GOAT, probably, like you said earlier, the best dunk contest anybody's ever seen, with not only the between the legs 360 dunk, but also the honey pot dunk where he stuck his rim in, or his hand inside the rim.
Yeah.
Just dunks that people had never seen at the NBA All-Star Game dunk contest. So Tyler's 2 minutes, Vince Carter.
VC, the human highlight reel, I believe, as they call him. That was a good ode to Vince Carter, and another good.
Vince Carter, it's over. It's over.
What do you mean?
I'll send you that clip. You don't know that? Where when he dunked between the legs, 360, he went, it's over.
Oh, like his.
It's over.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Oh, my voice messed up. Should we segue after Tyler's 2 minutes into the Wheezy Weekly winners?
We might as well.
Might as well. Shit, we're not getting any younger. So with that being said, we got the weekly, obviously, Wheezy's Weekly winners. But with that being said, Tyler, you know what today is, right? It's Wednesday. Do you know what Wednesday is?
Hump day.
And opposite day. So, as opposed to some weekly winners, which I get into people who are maybe doing well in the past few weeks or have something coming up, on opposite day today, I'm going to do Wheezy's Weekly losers, okay? So, starting off, number one, which we didn't touch on, I'm not sure if we were supposed to or not, I have the Atlanta Falcons at my number one weekly loser. First of all, I think a few weeks ago, Vic Beasley, they were talking about him on Twitter, like, oh, we're not going to re-sign him. And then there's the reply, like, who said this? And the Falcons Twitter page replied, like, literally us, the Atlanta Falcons Twitter page, like, we're saying this, we're not going to re-sign Vic Beasley. Now you're seeing reports they're likely to cut Devontae Freeman, which I always thought Tevin Coleman was the better running back in that two-headed rushing attack. Freeman had that one good year. They paid him all that money. He's had a few concussions. Maybe scrambled eggs brain could play some part into it. Hasn't really lived up to the payday that he got. I mean, they went from the Super Bowl to now they're a dumpster fire. That whole organization, Dan Quinn's kind of hanging on by a thread. We're not sure. I'm not sure how much longer they have as a whole there. Number two, sticking with the NFL theme, I have the Bengals. I don't know if you saw, Tyler, they are looking to trade their number one pick after reports come out that Joe Burrow does not want to play for the Bengals. And listen, I don't blame him, right? You're coming off winning the national championship for college football. You're on your high horse. You're probably going to be the number one pick. You're living life right now. Why do you want to go to Cincinnati and play for the Bengals? I mean, just being in the same state as the Cleveland Browns is bad enough. You're in the same division. You don't want to have to play them. So they're coming in at number two for my weekly losers. Excuse me. Number three, switching it up a little bit on my weekly losers, I have monogamy, right? So everyone's thinking like, what? What are you talking about, man? Like, monogamy, people love each other, Valentine's Day coming up, love's in the air, and whatever. No, listen, I don't know if you saw, there was something that came out. I don't really follow these guys too closely, but there was a YouTube star. I believe he was part of Logan Paul's crew. He was surprised for his birthday with a date with Lana Rhoades, an actress, if you will. They ended up starting dating. Come to find out, he cheats on her with some tramp from Dr. Phil who thinks she's famous, Instagram model. I mean, who cheats on a porn star? Which is kind of ironic, right? But at the same time, like Lana Rhoades, I'm sorry.
That's my favorite.
If you need a Valentine's Day date, I will. If you want me to just be the cameraman, I'm there. I'll give you thumbs up all the way through.
Lana Rhoades makes me wish my first name was John instead of Tyler.
Johnny, I know where you're going with that. Also, on the monogamy topic, Utah Judiciary Committee unanimously votes for bill decriminalizing polygamy. So it's looking like polygamy is back in the streets of Utah. They're going to have sister wives and all this good stuff. I don't know. That's crazy.
I might move out there.
Listen.
Sounds good to me.
We can't even stick with one, let alone get a plethora of them. So I don't know if that's the place for us. But number four on my weekly losers, I have John Peters. Not everyone may be familiar with him. He is a film producer. He's associated with A Star is Born, Wild Wild West, and some of the DC superhero movies, but I saw an article that back in the day, I think this was early 2000s, Pamela Anderson proposed to him via text, then divorced him 12 days later after he had paid off her $200,000 debt. So if that's not a gold digger, I don't know what is. John Peters, you were in my weekly loser for that sole reason. I mean, the fact that she proposed to him.
His name like directly translates with toilet dick. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, that's a pretty shitty name. Ahaha. Number 5 on my weekly losers this week, I have stripper poles. I'm sure you've all seen the video by now. Down in Dallas, Texas, stripper, 15 feet up in the air, no parachute, right? No kind of safety net. She's doing her thing. Boom! Hits the ground like a sack of potatoes. Now her jaw's wired shut. She's in the hospital. You know, she's got a GoFundMe page up trying to have some help with the medical bills. I guess the strip club is denying responsibility. They're helping her out somewhat with the medical bills. But with that being said, there's fake GoFundMes, there's fake Instagrams trying to get publicity or some clout off of her likeness, which is quite sad. You know, she's pretty banged up, no pun intended, from this accident off the stripper pole. But I mean, with that being said, can we see some maybe new rules or laws being implemented in the strip clubs? I mean, strip clubs were always like the wild, wild west of modern day. You know, it's kind of like frowned upon, but not necessarily illegal or, you know, unjust. I mean, shit, I don't know. Could the Supreme Court maybe come up with something? Maybe a declaration of nude dependence or a bill of sights, if you will. Ahaha. I'm not sure. Anyways, stripper poles rounds out my last and final of the Wheezy's weekly losers. Had to switch it up for him one time this week. I didn't really find a lot of winners, but I was like, shit, there's a lot of disparity going on. There's some losers out there.
If I was running for office, I would have more of the Bill Clinton approach. I would care about the sex workers, if you would.
Well, yeah.
They're very valuable to the American justice system. Well, the American system as a whole, I would just say. I love them. The No Look podcast loves them. You know, I feel like out of the 11 episodes we've had, we've probably talked about strippers, strip clubs, porn stars, at least 90% of the episodes. So
yeah,
we've hit on them every single time.
Right.
We love them here.
Back to your Bill Clinton point, better to have blowjobs than no jobs. Also, if you've seen the movie Malibu's Most Wanted, have you seen that?
I have.
Bill Gluckman, down with the bitches and hoes. And we saw how that worked out for him. He got elected. So, I don't know. Maybe we got to have a new approach. 2020. I don't know if it's too late to enter, Tyler. I'll let you be the president. I'll be the VP. we can get something popping on the independent party.
I mean, with living in Tampa, number one place for strip clubs, in my opinion. You know, I work right down the street from about 5 of them. So I'm all about it. They see me come in. They say, oh, hey, Tyler, weren't you here the other day? I said, nope, that's not me. But also, yes, that was me. Anytime I get a fresh 100, I kind of want to just break them into a 100 into ones and just let it rain. But, you know, 2020 is also the year of good financial security. So
yes. Yeah. I say it every year after I get my tax returns, I'm going to put that away. We'll see if it happens. I don't know. Try to save up a little bit, but goddamn, DoorDash is so convenient, man.
Like, yeah. Even Marcus called like, hey, I know you want a fresh pair of sunglasses, you know? So.
Yeah. I haven't been buying as many shoes, though. I mean, you know, I used to go ham on the Jays and all the other foot apparel. I have been better in that aspect. But, I mean, still, bro, sometimes Nike sends you that email, that Nike Plus member email, hey, we got a 20% off already on sale items. That's tough to turn down on a Friday payday. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I feel like money goes out faster in my account than it goes in most of the time. So, actually, all the time. So, I definitely understand that.
I mean, I feel like just for life as a whole, that's a pretty good slogan. Goes out faster than it comes in. So, and we might have to adopt that as the official No Look podcast logo or slogan. Excuse me.
That's fine. Just put it right underneath the number one logo on the Insane Games TV channel for sure.
Tom, we got a new slogan. We need to incorporate that somehow. All right. Well, that's all we had queued up. I know we're a little short. Is there anything coming up? We talked about the All-Star.
Oh, wait. Austin, I think there was one thing that we needed to mention.
What's that?
Spring training for baseball is coming up. Did you know that?
Now I do, but looks like that's enough for baseball talk for the week. Am I right?
I would say for the month, but yeah, exactly.
For the month, right. All right, we got our baseball fix in there on the No Look podcast. Spring training's coming up. So, yeah, I feel good. I feel like that's enough content for the baseball viewers.
Yeah.
I mean, you're down in Florida. Have you ever gone to a game? The Grapefruit League or whatever it is?
Yeah, I've been to the Clearwater facility, where the Phillies play, and then also the one in Tampa where the Yankees play. The Tampa one is more of a replica of the Yankee Stadium. Both great stadiums. I like them both. The weather's always nice, and you get to see some of the stars. I remember seeing, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, I saw Aaron Judge play before he actually blew up. I was like, why is that guy so tall and playing baseball? But
yeah. No,
I've gone, and it's definitely an experience. You get to have a good day out at the park, eat some Cracker Jacks. Cracker
Jacks. We joked about it. Obviously, you and I were not the biggest baseball fans, but now that we're on a topic, it did bring up a point that I was talking about earlier. I feel like baseball's, they call it America's pastime, right? I feel like it's kind of slacking as far as viewership goes. I mean, they still got the highest guaranteed money out of any professional sport, but you look around certain games, they're not even selling out close, to maximum capacity of the stadiums. And it just goes to think, I mean, you got hockey, you got basketball. They play 80-something games in a year, whereas you have baseball, they're playing 160, right? By far the longest professional sports season. At what point, do you think they should almost cut down the regular season? I think I don't know if it's being installed this upcoming year, but there was talk about expanding the baseball playoffs to 14 teams. So it seems like they're kind of already realizing, okay, hey, something's not working. We're not generating as much revenue as we should or have in years past. What are your thoughts on potentially shortening the baseball season?
I could agree with that. I could get behind that. That sounds like something that the NBA would kind of implement, something that's different. I know, for one, that I always get excited when the MLB playoffs comes around.
Right.
Just because, it's a kind of slow time of year. The NBA's over. NFL is starting up, but it's so more intensified because there's less teams to worry about. Where with baseball, like you said, they play 162 games a year. It's just too much. It's hard to keep up with almost.
Right.
So when the playoffs comes around, it's just like, oh, finally, you get to see the best of the best play. So I would actually enjoy seeing, more teams in the playoffs, shortening the regular season, maybe a few games. It would definitely make me be more interested in baseball. And, if I'm the target audience that you're trying to get after, there's probably a few of me out there that, want to watch baseball. It's just too much.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of other people like us. Playoffs come around, you see it's like it makes you more excited when you see the stadium packed. You see all the excited fans. They're there, they're yelling, they're making it a hostile environment for the road team. I have two propositions, other than the already mentioned shortening of the season. One, like we talked about earlier, the NBA mentioned potentially doing a mid-season tournament. I feel like maybe the MLB could implement that. I mean, back in the day, baseball was never my favorite sport growing up. I played it. I enjoyed it. It was kind of more of a relaxed sport where I could have fun with my friends. But I'll tell you what, Tyler, those tournaments back in the day where you do like a doubleheader, a round-robin type deal, you could play 2-3 games in a day. You can bang out a baseball tournament in a weekend probably, right? 30-something teams,
right.
Single elimination. I'm not sure maybe if they could cut down the innings or something like that, but I feel like that wouldn't be too far-fetched. Or something that just popped into my head, how the college basketball has the NIT tournament, right, for the teams that don't qualify for March Madness. What if you do, 30 baseball teams?
30, yeah.
So if they're expanding the playoffs to 14 teams, you take the other 16 teams that didn't qualify, you do a elimination, NIT type tournament for the teams that didn't make the normal playoffs, right? So that way you're kind of still engaged, and it's like almost, maybe not the World Series trophy, but you still get some kind of bragging rights and participation, and maybe something more so to root for as a fan, or something maybe with more merit that your fair weather fans like you and I would be interested in. But I don't know. I feel like there's some things.
I feel like a lot of the things that they still do in the MLB is so old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And when you have leagues like the NBA or the NFL or NHL, they're trying to implement these new ways that aren't so old-fashioned. The MLB is kind of caught behind that, and that's probably why their viewership is not the greatest, because it's not just the MLB anymore. The MLB back in the day was literally the only thing that people watched,
right?
Because it was the only sport that America had. So, maybe they need to do something like you mentioned, but I would be all for having an increased playoff with less regular seasons, because it's not as exhausting.
Yeah, no, I feel like we're on the same page with that. Maybe they should pick us up for the baseball committee. I feel like we got some good suggestions. We're pretty convincing.
I can't hit it out of the park physically, but I can hit it out of the park with my ideas.
Hey, that's all that matters. At least you're admitting it, right? Admitting it is the first step. But yeah, I can't think of anything else. We're right about that hour mark, so
yeah, we're good, baby.
Pretty good. All right. Well, we got coming up.
Leave some time for the dream team up next. So,
which I just noticed, was that up the whole time, Mike? That logo?
I have no idea.
We got the Dream Team logo up on the TV. I didn't even realize if that was up the whole time or if the no look was up. But yeah, Dream Team coming up next.
I mean, we're literally the original Dream Team. Don't let them fool you. So.
Well, right, yeah, but we kind of let them run with it. We adopted a cooler name with the No Look podcast. You guys playing season 2 Gunfight?
They were doing Overwatch tonight.
Oh, Overwatch tonight, excuse me. So stay tuned for that, Mike and Tom, Dream Team Overwatch. Then I believe we have the weekend Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, with Dave after. I'm not sure what he's playing, but stellar lineup. We got a good lineup going on Wednesday nights, pretty solid. Well, as always, T, until next time, your boy Yo Soy, AC Weezy, the man goddamn.
Love you, baby.
Light.
Mike, doing a good job.